Last take. Last take. And this is in regards to a question. I have a red oak bowl. And I've recurved it. And I want to heat treat it. How can I keep the heat treating from doing things to my recurve? First of all, let's look at this. It's been pretty well fire hardened. And the deflex, when that wood shrinks on the belly, it did change that. Now you would think, one would think that, let's just say you steam bent recurves or setback handle or whatever. Follow that up with heat treating or fire hardening. Is it going to suddenly take those curves out? And the answer is no. No, really. Once you steam it, those curves are pretty much in it, although it will change it a little bit, shrinking belly. So you can do one of two things. You can support it somehow, like you can see with this gull wing form. It's pretty well toasted because I have it on the form sometimes over the chimenea, and it certainly could be done with a heat gun while it's in the form. You're not going to hurt these clamps, you know, from the heat. They're steel and they're kind of made for that. You might wind up, if you have it arranged like me underneath that pad, it's not going to get that black char, but you can always follow that up with a heat gun. Just, you know, concentrated. On tips, a couple things here. Sometimes, as you saw with that last bow that I featured, I had to align the tips. I had to give it a twist. And so this is how I can do it with a heat gun on my shaving horse. Clamped pretty close to, you know, the recurve. I want to have that distance where I'm going to flex it to straighten it, or else, you know, whatever, you want to just toast it and support it, because with a bias ring board bow, it can do weird things. But just put a clamp on the other tip, or on the tip. That weight will hold it down a little bit, or you can add pressure with your hand, blast it with your heat gun. Take the clamp off, you've got that little bare wood tip there, hit that with a heat gun. You know, I guess long and the short of it is, heat treating and fire hardening doesn't change the shape as much as you might think it would. But it's always best to support it somehow if you can. So your puzzlement with your situation, whether or not you're using a heat gun or a charcoal grill or a chimenea, which is like a little outdoor decorative fireplace thing with a chimney on it, and it's a very concentrated heat on those chimneys. Those are worth getting. It's great for heat treating. To figure out some way to support it. So you've got that bend in there. Red oak board bows and recurves, I'll say. Put the recurve in. They can have a tendency for that recurve to pull out. So, you know, you've got your bow a little thickish. Don't recurve it after you final tiller it. Get it tillered, you know, not down to the desired weight. Recurve it, and then final tiller it, which will make the recurved areas a little thicker. You know, help support that recurve a little bit. Doesn't need to be super thick, just a little thicker. Having a dynamic recurve, which means when you pull it back, the recurve uncoils and then it coils back, kind of off the table for red oak board bows. They have to be static. And again, you know, it kind of helps to have a thicker recurve down there at the tip. Not a lot, not so it's going to make it ponderous, but just a little thicker. That is all. I am done. I'm going to go back out in this blustery northern Michigan wind and do some work and enjoy the winter. I like this. I've actually trail rode in the dark on this unicycle and my other ones with a headlight. You know, and one time you asked, 20 below zero weather. It was at night. It was like at 2 in the morning when I was managing to preserve, and I kept the trail shoveled so I could do this. Turned the flashlight on my unicycle, rode around, went down to the beach, stopped, 20 below. I'm just in long underwear and shorts. And I remember distinctly sitting down there once I stopped pedaling and cooled off. It's like, I'm going to die if I don't get back home. That's a little antidote. Well, with that, sayonara, my friends.